The Galactic Council had made their decision with the cold calculation of a military tribunal. Humanity's rapid expansion through the outer rim sectors had finally triggered the ancient protocols. Species 7834H was to be contained, their aggressive tendencies curbed before they could destabilize the carefully maintained balance of civilized space. Admiral Zexhai of the Vorthak hegemony stood before the assembled fleet commanders, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights of the command vessel's briefing chamber. "The humans have ignored our warnings," he clicked in the universal tongue. "They continued to establish colonies in restricted zones, mine asteroids without permits, and worst of all, they refused to submit to proper classification protocols." The other species representatives nodded in agreement. The crystalline Sharian delegate chimed softly. "Their behavior patterns are incompatible with civilized interaction. They lack the proper respect for hierarchy." "Indeed," agreed the gaseous Netherix ambassador, its voice a whisper through the translation matrix. "When we sent diplomatic vessels to establish first contact, they responded with questions. Endless questions. They wanted to know our weaknesses, our military capabilities, our population centers. Such brazen intelligence gathering disguised as curiosity. Admiral Zexhai's mandibles clicked in what passed for agreement among his people. The decision was unanimous. Humanity needed to learn their place in the galactic order. A demonstration of overwhelming force would suffice. Nothing too destructive, just enough to break their spirit and bring them to heel. 3 days later, the largest armada in galactic history materialized at the edge of the Sol system. 500 vessels from 12 different species, their combined firepower capable of sterilizing entire worlds. The message they broadcast was clear: surrender unconditionally or face annihilation. Earth's response came 18 hours later. "Thank you for the warning," came the transmission from Terra herself. "We appreciate the advance notice. Really, we do. Most species just attack without calling ahead." Admiral Zexhai found this response unsettling. Where were the pleas for mercy, the desperate negotiations, the offers of tribute and submission? Instead, the humans had simply acknowledged their message and thanked them for it. "Perhaps their translation systems are malfunctioning," suggested the Sharian delegate. "Surely they understand the magnitude of force arrayed against them." The answer came in the form of sensor readings that made every military commander in the fleet question their instruments. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter was moving, not drifting, moving with purpose and coordination. What they had dismissed as space debris began forming into geometric patterns, revealing themselves as camouflaged vessels. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when Mercury began to move. "Impossible," whispered the Netherix ambassador. "Planets don't simply change orbit. The gravitational disruption alone would—" "It's not changing orbit," interrupted the sensor officer, a young Vorthak whose voice cracked with disbelief. "It's not a planet anymore. It's a ship. The entire planetary body has been converted into a mobile weapons platform." Admiral Zexhai stared at the readings, his warrior's instincts screaming warnings his rational mind couldn't process. Humanity had turned a planet into a warship, not hollowed it out or built around it. They had somehow made the entire celestial body into a functioning vessel, while maintaining its gravitational field and orbital mechanics. "Sir," came another report, "we're detecting massive energy signatures from the outer system. It appears Pluto has been relocated. It's now positioned directly behind our formation." The tactical display updated, showing their fleet surrounded by what had appeared to be natural stellar bodies. The humans hadn't just militarized their space, they had weaponized their entire star system. Every moon, every asteroid, every piece of cosmic debris had been converted into part of a vast defensive network that had been invisible until activated. "Status report on Earth itself?" Zexhai managed to ask. The sensor officer's shell had gone pale. "Sir, we can't get clear readings on Earth. There's some kind of interference, but what we can detect suggests—" He paused, rechecking his instruments. "Sir, Earth is spinning wrong. The rotation is accelerating, and there are massive energy conduits running through the planet's core. I think they've turned their homeworld into a gyroscopic power generator of some kind." A new transmission arrived from Earth, the same calm, almost friendly voice as before. "We've received your ultimatum, and we've got to say, We admire the coordination it must have taken to organize such a large fleet. Truly impressive logistics. However, we feel there might be a slight miscommunication here. You see, you said you wanted a fight. The transmission paused, and in that silence, every sensor in the fleet screamed warnings as energy readings spiked beyond their measurement capabilities. The thing is, the voice continued, when Earth sends fighters, we don't send soldiers or pilots or even ships, really. We send systems. Entire star systems, modified and optimized for one purpose. You wanted to see what humanity brings to a fight? On the tactical display, Admiral Zexhai watched in horrified fascination as Seoul itself began to brighten. Not with nuclear fury, but with controlled, directed energy being drawn from its core and focused through massive arrays hidden in the corona. You're looking at it. You're sitting in it. You've been inside our weapon system since the moment you arrived. Everything you see, from our sun to our smallest asteroid, is one integrated defensive platform. We've had 3 centuries to prepare for this conversation, and we're very good at preparation. The largest vessel in the Galactic Armada, Admiral Zexhai's own dreadnought, powered down its weapon systems without orders. His tactical officer looked up with wide, fear-dilated eyes. Sir, they're not targeting our ships. They're targeting our jump drives. They can disable our FTL capability without damaging anything else. We can't leave. The final transmission from Earth carried what sounded almost like sympathy. Now we could demonstrate why Earth doesn't start fights, we finish them. But instead, how about we discuss this properly? We'll send some representatives to your flagship. Don't worry about transport, we've got that covered. And Admiral Zexhai, next time you want to threaten a species, maybe check if they've had enough time to turn physics into a weapon. As the transmission ended, a small, unremarkable shuttle detached from what looked like empty space and began approaching the flagship. But the sensor readings were impossible. The shuttle wasn't moving through space, it was somehow moving space around itself. Admiral Zexhai slumped in his command chair, finally understanding why humanity had been so polite, so accommodating, so willing to chat. They hadn't been afraid or confused. They had been giving the galaxy a chance to reconsider. The humans, it seemed, preferred conversation to conquest. But when forced to choose, they had made their entire star system into the kind of weapon that made other species wonder if perhaps diplomacy wasn't such a bad idea after all.